It wasn't pretty, but the Highland Park Scots found a way. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, for the final time in this 2012 Plano Wildcat Holiday Classic. I'm Brian Sutcliffe here with my good friend Mr. Miles Dunklin. And today the Highland Park Scots and Prosper Eagles will duke it out for the 5th place finish in this Plano Wildcat Holiday Tournament. And Miles, the Scots found a way this morning against Bishop Lynch. It was a game that looked pretty bleak in the third quarter, but the Scotties able to escape with a 57-52 overtime win.
Well, it looked bleak late in the fourth quarter. That was definitely not a pretty win, but you want to get that bad taste out of your mouth. They came dangerously close, Brian, to losing 3 out of 4 games, which is something that's pretty much unprecedented under David Peeler here at Highland Park. But as you said, the Scots found a way. They don't like to lose, and they definitely did not like the feeling of what it was about to be like to lose 3 out of 4. So they got their act together late in that fourth quarter in overtime, and now they're here playing Prosper.
After the win, the Scots moved to 14-5 this season. Their starters, the guards at point, number 3, Matt Fraschilla, a 5'10 senior, had a new season-high 10 points in the game this morning. At the off-guard spot, number 10, Matthew Kreitz, a 6'3 junior. The wings are number 2, Chase Fletcher, a 6'7 senior, and Will Miller, number 20, a senior, 6'5". The post is Clayton Murtha, number 52. He's a 6'5 junior. The Prosper Eagles are coached by Jonathan Ellis. They are 12-9. They are residents of District 9 4A, which makes this a potential playoff preview, as these are two teams that could face off in the first round of the playoffs. Coach Ellis is in his first season at the helm of the Prosper Eagle basketball program after leaving Carrollton Creekview last offseason. An interesting note, it was Jonathan Ellis's Creekview team that beat the Scots in the second round of this tournament last year. So a little bit of history between HP and Jonathan Ellis. His starters at guard, number 2, Brandon Gridzelanek. He's a 6-foot senior. Number 10, Gatlin Parr. He's a junior, 6 foot. The third guard in the 3-guard starting lineup is number 22, Stephen Butler. He's a senior, 6'2". The forward is number 4, Armand Charmanaya. He's a 6'2 sophomore. And the post is number 21, Stephen Riley, a senior, 6'4". You may recognize that name, Gridzelanek. There aren't that many Gridzelaneks around. He is, in fact, the nephew of former major leaguer Mark Gridzelanek, and a pretty good baseball player in his own right. The Scots will be the visiting team in this one in their all blues. They'll move from left to right here actually they'll move from right to left in the first quarter of play. No, we had it right the first time. They'll go left to right. Fletcher tips it off, wins the tip to Will Miller. The Scots averaging 54.8 points per game and allowing just 46.2. Matt Fraschilla, there's a nice post entry to the.
Yeah, great start. Great start for Matt off the dribble, using that pick and roll game to perfection right there. Good start in the game. Always like to get the first points up on the board.
Prosper averaging 58.4 points per game, allowing 53.7, but in their last 4, Prosper allowing nearly 70 points per game.
There's been some tough competition that they're not used to seeing in this tournament. Of course, Prosper just moved up from 3A. So playing 5A teams like they have in this tournament is not something they're accustomed to doing.
Prosper beat Lake Highlands in the first round of this tournament, 84-74. It was the most points they've scored this year. That was a game that went to overtime, a match that was controlled by Lake Highlands most of the way before Prosper scored at the buzzer to send it to overtime, and they really controlled the latter half of that game as the Scots come away with a steal. Here comes Will Miller. He'll take it up with the right hand and in. The Scots lead it 4-0 just about a minute into the first.
The more and more you see of Will Miller, the more he impresses you with the versatility of his game. That time getting the steal and then out-racing everybody the length of the floor, really showing off the speed. Not easy to outrun everybody else when you have to dribble the basketball and they're just running down the floor, and he did it right there. Great athleticism.
A nice start for the Scotties, 4-0 as Jonathan Ellis takes a timeout just 54 seconds in. Prosper made it to the quarterfinals after taking down Lake Highlands, where they were thoroughly whipped by Mesquite, 64-38. And at this point, Miles, Mesquite's playing Richardson in the championship, and they look like a fairly overwhelming favorite to claim the championship title of this tournament.
I would think so. Richardson obviously gave Highland Park a run for their money the first time they played, and then beat Highland Park the second time. But definitely that Mesquite squad looked strong. I'll tell you what, Will Miller really showed a lot of guts in that fourth quarter of that last game. Hit 2 big threes to help bring the Scots back after he airballed one. Really just showed the confidence, improving confidence that he has as he battles his way for a rebound right there.
Gatlin Parr missed the shot. Armand Charmanaya fought for the rebound, but it was taken away by the Scotties, who lead it 4-0. These teams fighting for the 5th place spot in this tournament. Certainly not what the Scots had hoped for after winning the H.P. Scott Classic and the Union Square Bulldog Invitational in Burke-Burnett. But some good things to be taken away from that big comeback this morning against Bishop Lynch. You're getting nice contributions from some of your newer guys. Mitchell Kaufman has had a really nice tournament. Does a lot of things. Campbell Brooks seeing his first varsity action of the season. And then Evan Buechler came off the bench and hit his first field goal attempt as a varsity player, a big three that got the Scots going. As Grudzielanek gets it down low, he takes it away from Kreitz, and Prosper has its first points of the game. Yeah,
players don't necessarily like to hear the word role player, but a lot of these guys, that's exactly what they are. They're role players on this team and kind of finding their niche, and they need the playing time, they need the minutes to get the continuity with the other guys, out there on the floor in the lineup. So coaching staff taking this opportunity to really experiment with some different lineups as Chase hits a three, and hopefully he'll get back, he'll get off the schneid from the outside.
Just his second of the season, was 1 for 13 coming into this game on the season. He hit 20 from outside the arc last year. He was a 43% three-point shooter.
Yeah, he shot, like you said, he shot over 40%. So it wasn't like, just like he was taking a lot of shots, he was making them in a pretty good clip. Chase is one of the only guys I know can airball a free throw like he did the other day and then step back and nail a three.
Matt Fraschilla missed the shot. Offensive rebound and putback by Matthew Kreitz. It's a little more like it. The Scots showing a lot of that determination and crisp execution that they showed in the latter stages, and certainly through overtime in the game this morning against Bishop Lynch. That was really a tale of two games, Miles. The Scots looked really lethargic and like they weren't in the game very much at all through most of the first 3.5 quarters. Then they really kicked it into gear late and found their way to the win. And credit Matt Fraschilla. He had a season-high 10 points, hit a big three-pointer. All 10 of those points came after the halftime intermission. So when HP needed some points, they got it from their senior captain.
Yeah, absolutely. And Clayton Murtha stepped up with 17. Also a big effort. And they needed every bit of contribution from those guys to get that win. Certainly not the best executed game they've ever played, but they were happy to come out in the win column and get that bad taste out of their mouth they had from the previous game. Great pass. Good job by Will, making himself available, and the Scots are rolling offensively early on.
Scots have 5 field goals by 4 different players. They lead it early 11-2.
Yeah, that is outstanding balance.
Prosper 12-9 on the season. They've dropped 4 of their last 5 games. They play in a wicked loaded District 9 4A, which will be a storyline through this game as District 9 and District 10 face off in the by-district round of the playoffs, as Scots with a turnover after swiping the ball away from Prosper. But Prosper coming into this one, a .571 winning percentage. That's the lowest in the league. You've got Frisco Wakeland in there at 16-1, and every squad in the district has at least 9 wins.
Brian, you and I, of course, very familiar with Prosper as Clayton Murtha gets a block.
Coming the other way, nice dish. Fletcher to Miller. Miller's got 6 first-quarter points, and there's another timeout taken by Jonathan Ellis. It's all Scots early, 13-2, just over halfway into the first quarter.
Yeah, beautiful ball movement on that fast break. Matt doing a great job getting the outlet to Chase Fletcher, and then Chase, very well disciplined on offense, rarely takes bad shots, and that time was able to set up his teammate as well. But Brian, you and I are very familiar with Prosper. We did their football this year, and they have a lot of good athletes at the school that used to be on the basketball team. They're now focusing on other sports and certainly don't have as much firepower as some of the other teams we've seen in this tournament. Showing early on, the Scots out to an 11-point lead already.
So critical that the Scotties finish this tournament strong, as their next game will be this coming Thursday as HP goes on the road to play the West Mesquite Wranglers. Then they'll turn around on Saturday afternoon next weekend and take on Carrollton Creekview, a team that expects to be in the mix for a playoff spot. And then the following Tuesday, they go to Newman Smith. So this will be a very important 10 days of basketball coming up for the Scots over the next couple of weeks if HP wants to defend its District 10 4A championship. That effort dealt a setback last Friday as the Scots lost at home to Mesquite Poteet, 47-40.
Well, yes, and not only in this game can they get a win and they finish out the tournament strong, but it's all about preparation for that tough slate of games next week.
Scott showing some pressure. Bishop Lynch didn't have much problem with this defensive alignment. Prosper has a little bit more trouble with it this time.
I'll tell you what, though, Prosper or Highland Park rather, has not been very successful with that press in this tournament. It seems like every time they put it on, they've just really gotten shredded and put themselves in a bad situation with a fast break opportunity for the opponent.
There's a reversal of roles right there. Little dive cut there by Matt Fraschilla. Gets a pretty feed from Chase Fletcher, and Fraschilla's on the board. The Scots up by 11, 15-4 with 3:23 left in the first.
Yeah, now all 5 starters on the board. A great offensive start. We're only about 4.5 minutes in. They've already got 15, so on pace for about 25 in this first period. That'll work for Coach Peeler any day of the week.
Prosper gets the first looks at the free throw line.
Stephen Butler. Excuse me, this is somebody we don't have on our roster.
They didn't have him in the program, so we'll have to do a little recon at halftime.
Scots have gone the whole way with the starting 5 so far. And I would imagine that this afternoon, considering that they did play a game this morning, played a game the last 2 days, but they're going to try and experiment a little more with the rotation, maybe go a little deeper into the bench.
Fraschilla kicks it over to Miller in the corner. He likes it. He hits it.
Scots are on point in every facet offensively so far. Fraschilla really doing a good job initiating the offense and facilitating.
Riley dumped it down to Clayton Murtha. Problem is he's wearing the wrong uniform. In transition, it's all Scotties.
Tell you what, Matt could not have handed that one any better to Chase Fletcher. Perfect trajectory, let Chase run underneath it, get the lane. The Scots are on fire, putting up 20 here in the first frame. This is a lot more like it.
A 16-point Highland Park Scots lead. As we take a look, the most points the Scots have scored in the first quarter of a game this season is 22. They've got 2 minutes and 38 seconds to get 3 more points for their best opening stanza of the season. That was in their win in the Burke-Burnett tournament against Wichita Falls, where the Scots put up a season-high 73 points.
And we're going to see that's Kaufman and Brooks. And Brooks has gotten an unbelievable amount of playing time in this tournament. And I think if you ask Campbell how much you're going to play, the first JV call, but he's been playing over a lot of the other guards on this roster that have been on the team for a couple of years. So really says a lot about how they feel about his game right now.
Cameron Barnes missed the shot, gets his own rebound, stepped on the baseline. We got to send, I guess, a bit of condolence out there to Coach David Clark, whose JV team won the JV tournament in Jesuit. The problem is all of his best players are getting plucked for the varsity.
Yeah, they're getting poached. Coach Peeler needs a little extra firepower on the bench, and these guys have really helped out.
Oh, dear.
Oh, he's feeling it right now. Will Miller is on fire to start the ball game.
12 first quarter points. The Scots lead it by 19, 23-4.
Is that 3 threes already for Will?
He's got 2.
2 threes. And he is really heating up.
5 field goals in the first quarter. And
the confidence wasn't building before. Seeing the ball go in the basket like that will certainly help out the confidence. And that's really a nightmare for the rest of 10-4A to see Will Miller realize how good he really is and start to realize some of that potential.
Clayton Murtha doing yeoman's work down on the baseline.
Yeah, this combination
bottling up he who shall not be named.
This combination of Kaufman and Murtha is a dangerous combination down low, both very scrappy. Murtha pokes it away again. Great effort down low in the post. Murtha's turning into a really nice player. And talking to Coach Snowden before the game this morning, said, yeah, other than Will Miller, most improved player on the roster.
Kaufman, a tough rebound, finds Campbell Brooks. Brooks will take it all the way up, has it swatted from behind by Riley Davis, number 12, the 6'1 junior.
I do like the aggressiveness there, and you can see the athleticism that he possesses, able to turn on the Jets. They feel like he's already one of the best defensive players on the team, which will help get you a lot of playing time under Coach Peeler.
1:38 left, first quarter, 23-4 Highland Park. Over to Fraschilla, he'll tee it up off the back iron.
Still like
nice rebound, Will Miller, unselfish, finds the trailing Kaufman, who puts it in high off the glass.
Great find by Will, great way to crash the offensive boards, and The Scots now with their all-time high in the first quarter of this season, 25.
They got a minute 15 left. The Scots can do no wrong here in the first quarter. Davis takes it baseline. Threw the left-hander up on the bottom of the backboard. Campbell Brooks comes away with it. He'll find Fraschilla in the front court. Quickly, catch and release three.
Oh, my God.
That ain't right.
He is on fire right now. He is absolutely feeling it.
Will Miller with 15. We talked in the waning moments of the game this morning about Will Miller being a volume shooter, and you can tell right now we saw it a lot in JV. We've seen it some on the varsity squad this year. When he's got it tuned in, you better look out.
Well, he is feeling it right now. Absolutely on fire. 15 points. Best first quarter of his life.
Best first quarter of the season for the Highland Park Scots. You really love seeing them get that gritty win this morning and then have absolutely built on it earlier, maybe ending all doubt here in the first few minutes of the game. Shot Armand Charmanaya off the mark. Fraschilla ahead to Brooks. Brooks over to Kaufman. 15 seconds left. Scots by 24, 28-4.
Let's get Will Miller one more look at the basket.
This would be the fewest points the Scots have allowed in the first quarter this year.
That's good action that time. That had Murtha with a pretty good chance at the bucket. Good pass by Matt, but still a great close to the first quarter as the Scots open up a 24-point lead after just 8 minutes of play.
If this was boxing, there'd be a standing 8 count right now, but there's lots of basketball left. HP goes to the second, leading the Prosper Eagles 28-4. At Texas Capital Bank, we're driven by an unwavering mission to serve Texas businesses and the entrepreneurs and families who run them. Since our beginning in 1998, we've grown into one of the state's largest independent banks, with offices in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and San Antonio. Texas Capital Bank is proud to support the Highland Park Scots and wishes the team great success this season. And Miles, the play that we've seen here in the first quarter is why I think a lot of us that are fans and watch this team still have hope for the kind of season that these guys can have. You know, they'll have a game like Poteet where they lose at home, score only 40 points, or a game like Richardson, and you see them light up the scoreboard here. You see guys hitting from all over the place, and you say, well, yeah, these guys have the firepower. This is a team that can do some damage.
Yeah, I think when you look at the way the team is composed with a great point guard, really just a floor general out there in Matt Fraschilla, then you have a foundation piece down low and Chase Fletcher on the block. Once these other complementary pieces come together and really play at their best, this is definitely a team that can be dangerous. It's just a matter of whether or not those guys are meshing and all those quote-unquote role players are doing their thing and playing well. But Will Miller, if he continues to play like that off the wing, he'll be a lot more than a role player. He's a foundation piece as well. He's really turning into an outstanding player.
15 of the Scots, 28 points. And there's a foul out on the perimeter as we'll say hello for the first time to number 14, Ryan Brady, the 5'10 sophomore. He's out there with number 32, the senior captain, Matt Wilson. Number 5, senior Trey Garrison, seeing his first action as well. As Campbell Brooks remains on the floor, Mitchell Kaufman out there as well.
And this is a lineup where Garrison in particular can shine. More of a defensive group on the floor right now. Garrison really the only guy that's going to look to shoot the rock on offense.
Of course, after Ryan Brady's performance against Irving, he might have something to say about that.
That's right.
A team-high 12 points in that one. Riley Davis rises. That's a nice stroke.
Tough shot over Trey Garrison. 6'4", right in his face.
Scots turn it over. 7:33 left first half. 28-6. Highland Park.
Scots need to keep the foot on the gas. It'd be real easy for these guys to say, all right, we're going to blow this team out. This game's over, but you know, not with that kind of attitude. They got to just keep the foot on the gas, and they should be all right in this one with a 22-point early lead. Can't get too confident though, because Brian, we saw this Prosper team make a couple comebacks in this tournament.
They did. We walked in earlier in the tournament and saw them playing Lake Highlands, and Lake Highlands was having their way. And then next thing you knew, Prosper was winning by double figures in overtime.
That was really good offense right there. Got Garrison free at the top of the key, and that's what I was talking about. He's going to be the guy pulling the trigger with this particular lineup out there. Good look. Can't always get it to fall, but he's one of your better offensive players.
Gatlin Parr nearly traveled. Zgridzulanik finds Butler over near the corner. Now he'll come out to the center.
Scott's just playing a straight man-to-man defense right here. They've been pretty good defensive possession until a block right there by Kaufman. We'll see Frischella and Fletcher check back in.
6:30 left, first half. 28-6, Highland Park over Prosper. Prosper started hot this season, winning 8 of their first 10 games, but have since dropped 7 of their next 11. They lost their first 2 district games, losing to Wakeland 76-70. No shame in that loss, as Wakeland's 16-1, one of the best 4A teams in the area. And Prosper fought them tough, actually led that game at halftime and led by 4 after 3 quarters.
Now, a lot of Highland Park fans know about Wakeland. Eliminated the Scots in baseball season last year. Very well-rounded athletic department. Got a lot of respect for Frisco Wakeland. Good school. Good football team as well.
Pump it down low to Chase. Lost the handle for a moment. He's double teamed. Kick it back out to Frischella. Looks over to the sideline to make sure he doesn't step out. Now he'll move right. Bounce pass right back to Chase Fletcher. He'll take it in. He scored, but wave it off as a travel was called.
Yeah, just took a couple steps before he ever put the ball on the ground. He just needed to put the ball on the floor one time there, and he would have been all right. Once again, the press by the Scots just being shredded.
Stephen Butler.
It's a tough blocking call on Chase. Not sure this official knows who Chase Fletcher is. Come on.
That's kind of like the stories you hear about, guys like Wade Boggs, where basically the umpire's given the benefit of the doubt, where if he doesn't swing, then it wasn't a strike.
Right. Yeah, if Chase Fletcher hits the deck, it's probably
a charge. First point of the day for Stephen Butler. It's number 44, Derek Kahn, enters play for the first time. We'll say hello once more to Will Miller, who scored 15 points in the first quarter, including 3 three-pointers. His last 3 field goals were from beyond the arc.
He's got to be saying, Coach, why'd you take me out of the game? This is the hottest I've ever been. That basket.
I'm going for 40 today.
That basket looks huge to Will Miller right now. I'd love to see him create off the dribble some more. He's really going to be a fine player the more and more he's really just coming into his own right now.
Scots by 20, 28-8. Frischella will take it, kick it right corner. Garrison hits the triple.
You gotta love Trey Garrison getting involved and hitting his shot, but what unbelievable handles Matt Frischella possesses. Probe the defense and get an open shot for Trey Garrison, and that's where Trey can really be a useful player on this team, is with that outside shot.
And then he just flat out intercepts that pass. No look to the trailing Miller. Miller takes it baseline, floats the right-hander up. I need Will Miller to pick my lottery numbers tonight.
Yeah, he is feeling good today.
Not that I condone gambling or the lottery in any way. I need to get that on record. I mean, if you did that kind of thing, which I don't. 33-8. Look like that official nearly pulled that down like he was going to crank it from the baseline. He's like, man, Frischella's getting everybody involved. Why not me?
Yeah. Yeah, Matt with the turnover right there, but he creates so many plays for this team. You live with the occasional turnover with so many assists that he has. Still has the best assist to turnover ratio on the team, and really just a pure point guard.
There's Parr. Goes baseline, tried to find Stephen Riley trailing.
And foul on Garrison.
Seventh team foul against the Scots. Only 1 against Prosper. But HP's been bombing away. They've hit 5 three-pointers in the first half. Will Miller's season high is 22. He has 17 points with 4:37 left in the second quarter. Now you wonder how much he'll play in the second half, the way this game is going. Prosper's 2 for 5 at the line early on.
Pretty much the only thing keeping Prosper in the game at the moment. The Scots lead by 25. They're not really in this one. Yeah, you said it, Brian. This is the kind of thing that gives us hope watching this club. When they fire on all cylinders like this, you really see the potential they do have. It's just a matter of getting everybody on the right page at the same time. And when it comes together, it clicks very well.
Brandon Grudzielanek nearly forced the turnover. Fraschilla comes into the backcourt to get it. Chase Fletcher hit his first three-pointer in several games when he hit in the first. Just his second on the season.
Would really open up the rest of his game inside the arc. And like I said in the first game, just his presence and the ability to stretch the floor as a 5, as a post player, a true post player, that 6'6", 6'7" guy that's guarding him, that's now going to have to stand out by the three-point line to guard Chase Fletcher, is no longer going to be in the lane as a shot blocking presence and as a rebounding presence.
Bounce it into Fletcher, somehow takes it away from 3 Eagles. He turns, can't quite hit it. One-arm rebound, Stephen Riley. Parr throws it up wildly high off the glass. They'll kick it out to Davis. Davis, wide open 3, hits.
A pretty lucky break that time for Prosper. Got a good bounce.
Will Miller quickly the other way. Well, I guess he can't hit them all. And then Parr lays it in. A little run here for Prosper.
Bring it to within 20. You got a missed call timeout.
2:57 left, first half. I'm Brian Sutcliffe, or pulling my best Kathleen Turner impersonation. I appreciate you bearing with me. We're hardcore. We go hardcore here, Miles. You know what I'm saying? We do want to let you know that HP Basketball's annual Hoops and Hot Sauce Dinner and Auction is coming up Friday, February 1st. For more information on tickets, underwriting, and auction donations, email hoopsandhotsauce@gmail.com. Here at Plano Senior High School, it seems like we've called about 8 games here this weekend. It's just the 4th. But it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster here in this tournament. You had the Scots come out guns blazing against Irving, winning by 24. The game really wasn't that close.
Yeah,
you had a heart-stopping loss.
This tournament's been great.
Heart-stopping loss against Richardson. Came out very flat against Bishop Lynch, but was able to get things going late enough to force overtime after the Will Miller 3. HP took control then. What a pass as Miller went up to dunk it, but didn't have the ball.
And got just a little bit ahead of himself that time. Leads the team in dunks. He's already got about 5 or 6 this year.
Grudzielanek goes into the corner. Baseline jumper missed by Stephen Butler. Davis tries to hit again from outside. Got his money worth on that.
Very friendly roll. And Prosper's now within 17. Fraschilla over to Murtha. And it's Miller on the wing. And that's that's Fraschilla with the right hand. And Matt continuing to score the basketball, something that he really doesn't do very much of.
Scoring machine, just came into the tournament averaging just under 4 points per game, but he had 10 earlier today, and he's got 4 in the first half of this one. And it's all Scotty's leading 35-16.
Yeah, and, Matt shoots a modest about 42% from the field, but still with a guy that has the ball in his hand that much, I think just the fact that he's shooting it is a positive thing. You just can't have the threat of not shooting it ever. So good to see him not only hitting some threes, but also getting in the lane.
Riley Davis has 9 points here in the second quarter for Prosper as he hits the first of 2 free throws. That's the 8th team foul against the Scots. But he missed the second.
It's Kreitz with the board, and Livingston's now into the game.
Livingston to Murtha, double dribbled.
It's good pick and roll action. They had the action they wanted. Just a little bit of lapse in execution on the catch there for Murtha. Scots once again setting up the press, but really not having much success.
Number 5, Tremaine Henry in the game for the first time for Prosper. That's a nice pass. Butler missed the bunny.
Yeah, just blew it. I think he anticipated a little more defense that time. Great high-low. A little slip screen that time.
Fletcher now with 7. The Scots by 20, 37-17. The Scots led this game 28-4 after 1. Offensive foul.
I think Ben Livingston's been hanging out with Matt Frischella. Did a really nice job of, a little bounce off that shove. He definitely did get shoved, but you got to sell it a little bit if you want to get the call.
Exactly. 1 minute left in the first half. 37-17. Scots up big. They have controlled this from the get-go. This time it's Fletcher to Livingston and 1.
Beautiful execution. That brings a smile to Coach Peeler's face. That's their bread and butter.
Just the 3rd foul against Prosper.
And Brian, the thing is, these teams know that play is coming. You got to know that's one of the very basic things about scouting Highland Park is realizing that play is going to come, but it's still so executed so well that it's still tough to stop.
Just the first free throw of the game attempted by Highland Park. They now have 6 consecutive games shooting at least 60% from the line as Henry lost the ball on the way up. It was stripped out by the Scots.
Yeah, those are the trends you want to see. Free throw percentage improving, hitting more three-pointers.
Clock rolls, 35 seconds left, first half. Riley Davis has the basketball, 9 second quarter points, goes to the crossover. Tough on the ball defense by Matt Frischella.
He's so good at that.
Here's Butler. Got a really nice feed there from Stephen Riley.
Yeah, Scott's basically got a taste of their own medicine with that backdoor look.
Scots by 21, 40-19. 10 seconds left. The Scots can hold for the final shot. Kick it out to Livingston, right wing 3 ball. Missed it. Chase Fletcher puts it back in.
I love the energy and the effort by the Scots. That entire first half, they came out and they really wanted it a lot more than Prosper did. Also helped that they hit the three-pointers, but just a very clean execution in the first half. Maybe a couple little things for Coach Peeler to clean up, but other than that, it was a very, very well executed half by Highland Park.
One of the most dominant halves the Scots have played all season. They head to the halftime locker room, leading the Prosper Eagles 42-19. At Texas Capital Bank, we're driven by an unwavering mission to serve Texas businesses and the entrepreneurs and families who run them. Since our beginning in 1998, we've grown into one of the state's largest independent banks, with offices in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and San Antonio. Texas Capital Bank is proud to support the Highland Park Scots and wishes the team great success this season. 42-19 Scots at the half, trying to earn that 5th place finish all over Prosper after 16 minutes of play. When we come back, we'll have the 3rd quarter. You're watching Highland Park Scots varsity basketball.
This presentation is brought to you by HPTV. If you or someone you know would like to sponsor this unique TV station, please email Mrs. Kelly Snowden at snowdeck@hpasd.org. And from all of us here at HPTV, we thank you for watching.
42-19 is the halftime score. The Highland Park Scots all over the Prosper Eagles. HP jumped out to a 28-4 lead after the first quarter. Scotty's playing one of their best games of the year, although you look down and I guess we're disappointed that they're no longer on pace to score like 128 points or 118 points, whatever they had after.
84 isn't bad either, and I think Will Miller on pace to score, 34? That's not bad either. He had 17 in the first half. Just came out, lit the world on fire to start that first quarter. Hit his first 5 shots.
Great contributions up and down the lineup for the Scotties. Chase Fletcher had 9 first-half points. Matt Frischella with 4. Mitchell Kaufman with 2. Trey Garrison had a 3-pointer. Matthew Kreitz with 2. Ben Livingston with 3. Will Miller with 17 points. 15 of those in the first quarter. He has 3 3-pointers in the game. And then Clayton Murtha with 2. It's Will Miller, Matt Frischella, Chase Fletcher, Clayton Murtha, and Matt Kreitz on the floor to get things going as the Scots struck from right to left here in the second half. The winner of this game finishes 5th in the tournament. There's that fake. Chase takes it up. That play always seems to work, and you don't have to scout too much Highland Park basketball to say that's normally the play at the start of the second half.
Well,
and it's just they execute it perfectly.
it does come down to perfect execution. And, you know, if that pass is there, Jay's going to make it. If it's not, he's going to roll to the hoop. And it works very well as an option kind of play.
Shot missed by Stephen Riley, and we wonder how long a lot of these first-team guys are going to go here in a game that doesn't look like the outcome is in much doubt, as HP jumped out to a 28-4 lead.
Might be a couple things they're trying to work on, a couple specific things this first group wants to accomplish in their few minutes out there. But I'm with you. I would imagine that we'd see a lot of the end of the bench in this second half. Very similar to what we saw against Irving in the first game, where the Scots had a 25-point lead throughout.
Well, that's really what these tournaments are about, right? I mean, you want to come out here and win, sure. That's what you want. But, you know, to an extent, these are exhibition games, and you're preparing for your district run, and that's the important task for the Scots. They want to repeat as district champions. And this team that we've seen in the fourth quarter against Bishop Lynch and through this game looks far more capable of doing that than we saw against Poteet or against Richardson.
I think it has a lot more to do with how they're playing and a lot less to do with the opponent.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's really just, are these guys on the same page? Do they have, do they get a little bit hot from the outside? And can those role players mesh and gel and kind of have their particular roles ironed out? And I think that's what they're trying to figure out before district.
Gatlin Parr hit a three-pointer. He's got 5 points. The leading scorer for this Prosper team scored 24 in the win in overtime against Lake Highlands in the first game of the tournament. He's got a couple of 19-point games as well, but he's been very quiet in this. Kreitz takes it away from Henry, finds the trailing Murtha. This ball is swatted down from behind by Cameron Barnes. We do want to point out that the number 23 that's been playing for Prosper is Robert Mott. He's a 6'6" post player. I wish I could say his name wasn't in the program, but sure enough it was. Miles, man, you got to be sure that you include that next time.
Yeah. Way short on that first free throw for Clayton.
That's just the second free throw the Scots have attempted in the game.
Which I would think for Coach Peeler, that'd be fine with him. No reason to get guys fouled, no reason to foul anybody. Let's just get this one over with some healthy players.
Parr tees it up again, missed that one. Rebound by his number 10 on the opposite side, Matthew Kreitz. 5:48 left third quarter, Scots 45-22. Fletcher to
high-low
Murtha.
action.
Double team to Miller. Kreitz puts his head down. He'll throw it up and in.
Kreitz is a really good finisher around the rim. He seems to have that shot inside. He can shoot from a lot of different angles right there at the stop and pop. And he's a really effective player. We really haven't seen him that much, but he's very efficient when he's out there. Good contest by Matthew that time as well.
Cameron Barnes missed it. Fraschilla over to Miller. Miller steps away from the defender. There it is. Will Miller, his first points of the third quarter. He's getting close to his season high. He has 19 in the game. He needs to best 22 to set a new offensive high watermark this year. Grudzielanek, nice little move to get some space. Miller got the rebound. Looked like he got bonked on the head.
Yeah, a couple of players collided and they did not blow the whistle. That's following me. These officials just swallow the whistle for the rest of the game.
Fraschilla to Fletcher. Traveled.
It's been called for a couple travels in this one. So we got a timeout.
4:49 left in the third. 49-22. Highland Park up by 27. They led 28-4 after one. Prosper outscored Highland Park 15-14 in the second as HP took a 42-19 lead into the halftime locker room. The Scots will next play next Thursday night at West Mesquite in what became a much more critical game after the Scots lost their district opener to Poteet last Friday. You don't want to call that a must-win, Miles, but
you don't want to fall 0-2 either. So
lots of basketball. You play 14 district games, so certainly a long way to go. And North Forney nearly beat West Mesquite on Friday. Now it's a very good North Forney squad playing its first 4A basketball in their school's history. Somewhat deceiving result there as it was 66-62 was the final, but West Mesquite led the game by 26 after 3 quarters.
Yeah, you never know. That could have been some backups in the game for West Mesquite.
Could have been.
They have a 26-point lead. That gives you a kind of idea of where they were at one point in that game. So Scots lead by a similar margin here of 27. more than doubling the score of the Eagles.
Cameron Barnes has it on the wing. Right of the lane now for Stephen Riley. Grudge-Atlantic looking for someone down low. Instead, he finds Gatlin Parr. Parr with a nice bounce pass into the lane to the cutting Grudge-Atlantic. It's off his hands and out of bounds.
And just couldn't quite catch that one. And the starting five has been in here for about 4 minutes now for Coach Peeler.
In these high school games, Miles, the lack of a shot clock can really hurt you if you fall behind big early, as Prosper did in this game, 28-4.
Yeah, the Scots are going to be very deliberate offensively and just grind out possessions until they get a wide open look. And if they don't have a wide open look, they're going to defer to a teammate and run the offense again.
Fraschilla shot about a 17-footer. He missed it.
Still like the fact that he's taking that, though.
Riley gets the pass from Parr, kicks it out of the double, goes left of the lane, shot very flat and short by Stephen Butler. Ball's on the floor. It's a jump ball. It stays with Prosper. The senior captain, Matt Wilson, will check in. We'll see who he replaces.
It'll be Chase.
Will Miller, the leading scorer in the game. He has 19 points. 15 of those were in the first 8 minutes. Parr got freed up, missed very badly. Offside board for Fraschilla, quickly ahead to Miller. Miller goes no look to Kreitz. Kreitz takes it, moves the ball away from Stephen Butler, and scores his 5th and 6th points of the game. He's got 4 of them here in the third, and the Scots lead at 51-22.
Yeah, Scotties are looking good, firing on all cylinders in this game. And one of their best all-around performances of the season.
Cameron Barnes goes up amongst the trees and earns a trip to the line. Prosper 3 for 7 at the line in the game. 3:16 left third quarter. Scots by 29, 51-22.
About to see Kreitz and Miller subbed out as well. See Brady and Garrison check in.
First point of the game for the junior guard, Cameron Barnes. Barnes hits them both.
Still Murtha and Fraschilla out there from that starting group. And talking to Ryan Brady, said so many good things about Matt Fraschilla and what all these other younger guys in the team are able to learn from him. Being out there with a guy like that, as Campbell Brooks is right now. Pick up and learn a couple extra things from him.
Brooks was looking to hit Clayton Murtha down on the baseline. It was knocked away.
Much rather see him make those kind of mistakes right now than against a squad like West Mesquite in a couple weeks. So.
Tremaine Henry does battle with Fraschilla. He'll give it up to Riley Davis, who had 9 points in the second quarter for Prosper, who played pretty well in the second quarter, but probably dug themselves just too deep a hole as they fell behind 28-4 after the first. Rapidly moving third quarter.
It had to just be a little bit demoralizing for them as well. You know, you come out for a game and all of a sudden you're down 24 points in the first quarter.
One of the things we probably should take into account as well is Prosper hasn't played since yesterday morning. The Scots have played 2 games since Prosper finished their last. So the Scots maybe a little bit crisper, as Prosper didn't have to play an extra game to make it into this 5th place matchup.
Yeah, but you could also, play the fatigue card as well. So it's, it's really, I don't think an excuse for Prosper. It's really just about how well the Scots have executed. Beautiful.
Fraschilla, Murtha to Wilson.
Beautiful. That is poetry in motion right there.
You could see Prosper was in trouble when they'd brought 3 defenders up to get in Matt Fraschilla's vicinity.
Yeah, he
That's too
invites
easy.
that at all times. And love to see Murtha thinking one step ahead.
There's Mott.
Good contest by Matt.
Armand Sharmaniah, his first 2 points. Scots lead it by 27, 53-26 with 1:05 left in the third. Brian Sutcliffe here with Miles Dunklin. We've got a great crew here. 4th game here in 3 days. We'll run down the roster of technical luminaries here in a moment.
Once again, like to see Matt aggressive with his shot a little more often. And that's a decent look for him.
The Sharmaniah bowled over Matt Wilson, no call. Trey Garrison just shoves the ball over to Fraschilla. Fraschilla pushes to Brooks. Brooks rises, toilet bowls out. Clayton Murtha fights for the offensive rebound, gets it, leaves that shot short. Finally comes down to Armand Sharmaniah and the Prosper Eagles. 25 seconds to go in the third.
Yeah, only 3 fouls overall for both teams here in the third quarter. The officials clearly swallowing the whistles and really only calling a foul when they feel like they have to. Just try and get this game over with.
11-7. The Scots have outscored Prosper here in the third with under 10 seconds to go. Here's Riley Davis. Free up Ryan Cleary for 3. Hits.
And that'll be the quarter.
The Highland Park Scots are 8 minutes away from claiming the 5th place spot here in the 2012 Plano Wildcat Holiday Classic. At Texas Capital Bank, we're driven by an unwavering mission to serve Texas businesses and the entrepreneurs and families who run them. Since our beginning in 1998, we've grown into one of the state's largest independent banks with offices in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and San Antonio. Texas Capital Bank is proud to support the Highland Park Scots and wishes the team great success this season. 53-29, it's Scots over the Prosper Eagles after 3. Will Miller leads the way for the Scotties with 19 points. 15 of those were scored in the first quarter. Chase Fletcher has 11. Fraschilla with 4. Kaufman has 2. Garrison with 3. Matt Kreitz with 6. Ben Livingston has 3. Lots of guys we're listing here. Miles Dunklin has been a very balanced performance. At least a lot of guys getting involved on the scoring side. Matt Wilson has 2 and Clayton Murtha with 3.
Yeah, it was really just a great first quarter. Came out, opened up a 24-point lead. And that came from a lot of balance offensively. All 5 starters scored in that first maybe 5 minutes of the game, and that really set the tone. It's been a very balanced effort from Highland Park, just playing good team basketball. And over these next 8 minutes, learn as much as you can about these role players left on the end of the bench and get out of here without any injuries.
Well, the Prosper Eagles can look at this 2 different ways. They can look at it one way and say, well, since the end of the first, we're tied at 25, but you lost the first quarter 28-4. And that was a bit of a problem as Jake Stigenga, number 11, is into the game for the first time, the 5'10 junior. Campbell Brooks, Mitchell Kaufman, Matt Wilson, Trey Garrison on the floor for David Peeler's Highland Park Scots. Coach Peeler in his 7th season now, 168-47. Not too shabby, a 78% winning percentage.
That'll get it done.
Kaufman missed the shot, came down to Sharmaniah.
And that time Prosper switched up into a little zone. Just try and get the Scots to shoot from the outside.
45 seconds in. Cleary can't hit his second 3 of the game. There's a good rebound by Robert Mott, 6'6 postman.
Great D by Garrison that time. Garrison, the first thing I heard about him is, well, you know, offensive player, he doesn't have as much on the defensive end, but I've been impressed with what he's done defensively. I'm sure he realizes, hey, that's what's going to keep me on the floor a little more often when my shot's not falling. Good job that time. Left the offensive player with nowhere to go.
Armand Sharmaniah to the free throw line for the first time in the game. He hits the first.
Will be Derek Kahn back in. Derek's another guy who could really use some time in there to, you know, develop his game. The more minutes these guys get, the more comfortable they're going to be on the floor with their role.
Scots and West Mesquite Wranglers coming up Thursday night. It'll be a 7 o'clock tip. HP can wipe out that Poteet loss with a big road win against the Wranglers next Thursday. Then they'll have less than 48 hours to rest before they battle the Creekview Mustangs at the Highlander Fieldhouse, 1:30 p.m. tip next Saturday. There's Kahn. He'll step into a wide open three. Hit it.
That's what Derek does. That's what he can do. He can score the rock. I said this about Derek last year. Never met a shot he doesn't like. Always willing to pull the trigger, and that's what the Scots need from him.
6th three-pointer of the game hit by the Scots. 5 of those were in the first half. The Scots lead it by 25, 56-31, with 6:10 left in the fourth.
And Jake Stiganga is going to be charged with the turnover right there. I think under a normal circumstance, probably call that one a blocking foul.
Bodies flying everywhere as Prosper trying to get a 4th opportunity, but they won't.
Now getting over the back call. Good job by Derek boxing out in the right position.
3rd foul against Prosper, just 2 against the Scots.
And Derek's another one of those Scots shooting about 35% from the 3. And if he can come in and just, once every couple games, knock down a shot from the outside, that's what they need from him.
I mean, quite simply put, the Scots' ability to shoot from the outside will be the difference as to whether or not this is a nice playoff team or a legitimate district championship contender.
Totally agree. And it's going to come from all those guys. It's going to come from your Trey Garrisons and your Derek Kahns and your Matt Wilson and all these different guys. Ultimately, it's going to be the role players on this team that decide their destiny.
Brooks was looking for Kahn. It was knocked away by Mott, but the Scots get another look. Skip it over to the left side. Nice ball movement. Stiganga splits 2 defenders, but too much hitch in the giddy-up. Stiganga whistled for the turnover. 5:17 left in the fourth. Scotties lead it 56-31.
It's Garrison checking out in the JV call-up.
Evan Buechler.
Buechler, my impression of him watching him last year, a shot taker and a shot maker, a guy who can come in and score the basketball.
Cameron Barnes missed. Buechler hit his first varsity field goal attempt. It was a 3-pointer in the game against Bishop Lynch yesterday. They got the Scotties going in the 3rd quarter. Buechler wearing number 15. He's a junior, 6'4".
Yeah, another one of these guys, kind of like Trey Garrison, on the wing as he tees up a 3. That one was way short. But a guy who has some legitimate size and can help out on the wing for this club.
I was texting with Coach David Clark before this game talking about Buechler, and he said, he's right there in the mix with the best players that he's ever coached. So he was lamenting the fact that he'll no longer be helping him out, very likely on the JV side. It's Cameron Barnes now with 4 points. 4:20 left in the fourth. It's all Scots. The only question is, what will the final margin be?
Now Jake Stiganga is another guy who's going to be a very key piece for this team. What are they going to get from him at that backup point guard spot?
Wide open, the southpaw strokes it through. Matt Wilson.
And that gets a rise out of the bench. They want to see this guy succeed when he gets out on the floor. Such a well-liked player.
That's a great steal by Derek Kahn, getting right into the passing lane. Less than 4 minutes to go in the fourth. If the Scots can pull this out, they'll move to 15-5.
Good ball movement by the Scotties right here. Get a wide open look for Derek. The Scots, man, they need to bottle some of this three-point shooting and save it for next week. It's the hottest game they've had all year, and wouldn't you say from the outside?
Absolutely.
I think this is their best performance. There's been so many other games where they've needed a couple threes so desperately and have not been able to get open looks to fall, but today, seemingly when they don't need it, everything's falling. Good pass.
That's a good play there by Stephen Butler. Drew the contact, laid it in. Prosper 7 for 11 at the free throw line. Scots have attempted only 3. Skip it over to Brooks. Great pass to Wilson.
What gorgeous ball movement right there. In the span of about 2 seconds, 4 different Scots touch the ball. That's how you beat a zone defense.
Derek Kahn has 8 points on his last 3 shots, all here in the fourth. It's the Scots by 27, 63-36.
Good block
and then
by
Wilson
Matt.
gets a block from behind, sending
Look at him running the floor now.
Stephen Riley to the floor.
We're going to see Smathers and Ryan Brady check in.
Great look. It was Buechler to Wilson.
Every time I see Matt, I'm just baseball season flashes before the eyes every time he goes down. I'm sure Coach Oliver would not be happy to find out that his star pupil's hitting the deck like that.
Gatlin Parr with a little circus shot, and with 2:11 left, this will give both teams an opportunity to clear the benches out a bit, as the Scots are going to win this one and finish 5th in this tournament. And Miles, when we got here early this morning, it was a 10 o'clock tip for the Bishop Litch game. You wondered, how are the Scots going to end this tournament? And through most of that Bishop Litch game, it looked like they're going to end this tournament losing their last 2 and have some real problems. Then they come in here and put forth one of their best complete efforts of the season. And once again, you have to like the way things are looking for the Scots on their way back into district play.
I think absolutely. I mean, with about 5 minutes left in that BL game, they were losing 3 of 4 right in the face. And I think that's something that's totally unprecedented under Coach Peeler. These guys don't like losing, and they have certainly responded very well to that adversity that they faced in that game. Really not playing their best against a team they felt like they should have beaten handily. And really, really good to see them respond with a much crisper performance offensively in this one. And really getting to learn a little more about their team and finish strong in the tournament. Get that bad taste out of their mouth from a couple games ago.
Stevie Smathers, number 12, checks in. He's a 6'1 senior. Ryan Brady, number 14, in with Derek Kahn. Kahn goes to the baseline. That's his patented shot. He hit that one often last season. He can't get that one. The Scots turn Prosper over. Then Tremaine Henry takes it right back and earns a trip to the line with 1:48 left.
That was a rough sequence for Campbell Brooks right there. Got the ball and turned it over, and then he got kind of pinballed around between a couple guys. And this group right here, all underclassmen except for Stevie. And for some reason, Matt Wilson set to come back in. That's for Derek Kahn. Give Derek a break.
Kahn with 8 points, all in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, Derek can score. I don't think there's any question about that.
Henry goes 0 for 2. Rebound, Matt Wilson. .140 left.
You know they want to get Smathers a bucket as well while he's in there. Great
nice
baseline
move,
drive.
Buechler.
A little nervous, I think. I think that's a drive on JV that he finishes every single time.
Well, and, you talk a little bit about, Buechler is a guy with a lot of confidence. And the Scots need a little bit of that. They need a guy that says, hey, I can hit this and I'm going to take it. And, in some respects, you find them sometimes they're too unselfish.
Sure.
Which is a good problem to have, I reckon. You don't have a bunch of guys out there who want to take their own shot and, fill up a scoreboard on their own.
But yeah, guys like a Will Miller, guys like a Trey Garrison and Derek Kahn and now Buechler here. Those guys, they're encouraged to shoot when they're out there because simply there's not a whole lot of other guys in this team. They're going to be out there putting up a majority of shots. There's no volume shooter, and there's not enough guys that shoot on a regular basis.
Nice steal by Brady. He got it ahead to Brooks, who couldn't finish.
Good job by Smathers deflecting a ball out of bounds. But they absolutely need guys to come off the bench and look for their shot, and hopefully Buechler can add that.
Chase Fletcher in double figures. Once again, he has 11 points as you look at some of the contributions HP got in this tournament. Shot was missed. Rebound, Stevie Smathers.
Scott's working on their 2-3 zone look right there.
Matt Fraschilla was one of the key instigators of that Scots comeback earlier this morning. Mitchell Kaufman had a really nice tournament.
Yeah,
was playing a lot of basketball in crunch time in this tourney.
That's what's Campbell Brooks. And I think the coaching staff got what they wanted out of that group. They want to put their feet to the fire and say, how are you going to respond in a pressure situation? That group brought them back, and they felt like because that group brought them back, they deserved to be out there the last couple minutes.
Less than 30 seconds left. Shot missed. Buechler with the rebound.
I think this is going to be it. No more shots for Highland Park.
A tidy effort by the Highland Park Scots. Came in, jumped on Prosper right out of the gate. A 28-4 lead after one. And 63-38 looks like it's going to be the final as the Highland Park Scots move
Prosper
to
still wants to
15 and
guard
5.
There they go.
And HP finishes 5th in the Plano Wildcat Holiday Classic, the third and final tournament. This is the last season that UIL teams will be allowed to play 3 non-district tournaments. So obviously the Scots will continue hosting their Scott Classic.
Probably won't be going to Burke Burnett
will probably be the one that won't be in the rotation anymore. But you know, the Scots finished this tournament well, moving to 15 and 5 after a 63-38 win over the Prosper Eagles. Prosper falls to 12 and 10. We'll keep an eye on Prosper as they continue through their district schedule, as once again it could be a playoff matchup
from 9-4A
in the by-district round as districts 9 and 10 square off in that opening round of the playoffs. Chase Fletcher had 11 points for the Scots. Matt Fraschilla with 4. Mitchell Kaufman had a pair. Trey Garrison with 3 points. Matthew Kreitz with 6. Ben Livingston with 3. Will Miller, 19 points, 15 of those in the first quarter. And Will Miller did a lot of the heavy lifting in that first quarter when the Scots really ran away from Prosper and never looked back. Matt Wilson with 4 points. Derek Kahn with a nice 8 off the bench in the fourth quarter. And Clayton Murtha had 3. We had a really great crew here today, as always. Kelly Snowden, our producer. Drew Allman doing a great job directing. Alex Kramer up on the high cam. Connor Palacios down on the floor. And we'll let you know that one more time. At Texas Capital Bank, we're driven by an unwavering mission to serve Texas businesses and the entrepreneurs and families who run them. Since our beginning in 1998, we've grown into one of the state's largest independent banks, with offices in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston, and San Antonio. Texas Capital Bank is proud to support the Highland Park Scots and wishes the team great success this season. So it'll be the 15 and 5 Highland Park Scots heading to West Mesquite Thursday night. It'll be a 7 o'clock tip, a big district matchup against a top 10 state ranked team, the West Mesquite Wranglers. We hope you'll join us for this one. Miles Dunklin, man, great having you here this week.
Had fun as always. It feels like we've been in this gym for a week or so now. Only 4 games, but 3 days. It was a lot of basketball in here.
The Scots finished strong, 63-38 over Prosper. Until next Thursday when the Scots are in West Mesquite. We'll see you then. So long, everybody.
This presentation is brought to you by HPTV. If you or someone you know would like to sponsor this unique TV station, please email Mrs. Kelly Snowden at snowdeck@hpasd.org. And from all of us here at HPTV, we thank you for watching.